bag that had my credit cards in it
Oh no, I didn't even see it. What was it?
on a chair behind my desk. I got
Lord have mercy.
You're live.
We're recording this, correct?
So we have 1 minute. All right, it's 6 o'clock. We're going to go ahead and get started. Welcome, everybody. Welcome back to those returning to Suitland. Welcome back to our new students who are coming to Suitland, no matter what grade you're in. Parents, welcome to Suitland High School. And we're excited about this year. Last year was kind of rough. Things started off because they were trying to get acclimated back into the building, but we did make some strides. Last year we had a 30.6% increase in ninth grade promotion. We graduated almost 470 students. We had over $5 million in scholarships. We had local and national recognition for some of our CVPA students, for JROTC students. And we're excited about making and doing better things this year. Students started off a little rough, like I said, but they started getting acclimated to being in the building. Tomorrow is an exciting day because we'll have our ninth graders in the building for orientation. Parents, just to let you know, it's for students only tomorrow. So please, if you're going to drop them off and let them come on in so they can hear the exciting things and be excited about their new high school experience. This evening, we will give you some information to talk about Suitland High School. We will have someone monitoring the chat so you can put some questions in the chat, and we will have some time at the end to answer some of your questions. So I hope you enjoy. We're going to give you a lot of information, some things that will be helpful for you because we want to make sure that we start off on a good foot. Next slide, please. So, as I said, we are getting ready. Tomorrow, rain or shine, the ninth graders are going to be here. And we just want to know, as we ask our students every day, are you ready? We wanted you to be ready, the students to be ready to be kind. So, fighting, no fighting. Let's treat each other in the way that we want to be treated. Let's make good decisions. No skipping class, trying to stay out of bad things that are going on, try to keep yourself out of those things. And we want you to be ready to learn, because that's what everybody comes into the school to do, is to learn. And that's what we want you to be ready every day to come in and do those 3 things. And we should have a great year. So as I started, I didn't even introduce myself. I am so sorry about that. I'm Dr. Hollis, the principal of Suitland. And we have 7 assistant principals, Mr. Michael Johnson, who's 9th grade assistant principal, Ms. Shana Murray, who's also on the 9th grade team. We have Ms. Parker, who's a 10th grade assistant principal, Mrs. Strayhorn, Mrs. Williams, they're the 11th grade team. And we have Mr. Perry and Mrs. Morton L. Wilson, who are the 12th grade assistant principals. Our counselors are split between several grade levels. So you have if your child is 9th grade A through JOH, will be Mr. Morgan. 9th grade JON through Z is Dr. Jones. Mrs. Hamlin is our grade 10 through 11th A through GI. And Mr. Parrish is grade 10 through 11, GO through NE. And then we have Ms. Pegues, who's grade 10 and 11th, NG through Z. And then our 12th grade counselors are Mr. Akinyele, 12 A through J, and Miss Brooks, who is grade 12 K through Z. So when you come on the campus this year, and I don't know if you saw it on the news, but Suitland is getting a new building, which is very exciting. So change is happening. The building was, I think, built in 1950 something, so it's about 70 years old. So there's a lot of excitement about the new building coming on. So one thing that we're going to say is it's going to require a lot of flexibility. There are going to be some changes. There are going to be some things that are happening, but together, if we work together, we'll get through it for the next couple of years before we move into the main building. And then a couple of years after that, everything will be totally finished. So when you come on the campus, you will notice, if you haven't already, that the small gym and the wing in the back are gone. They removed that to create their construction zone. We had to move some classroom assignments from that area. The construction zone will be fenced off. So it's going to be off limits. We don't want anybody in those areas, student, staff, parents. No one should be within the construction zone. Traffic pattern has changed in the back of the building for now, because if you drive around and go to the back, you're going to have to go all the way back to the annex and go all the way around and then come back up to the front. So these things will shift and change as the construction dictates. So like I said, we're going to have to be flexible. Now, during morning drop-off and pickup, we will have a lane on Silver Hill Road that's going to be blocked and monitored by Prince George's County Police for drop-off. And they will block, like I said, they will block the lanes. And if we have to, they will go all the way around to Brooks Drive in order for students to walk on the sidewalk to come to the building. Students with special conditions, such as crutches, or if they have some other things that are going on with them, we will give them a pass for entry. Walkers are still going to be the same for those who have been at Suitland, and for you new students. We only allow students to enter in the rear of the building in the morning, because you can only go 2 places in the morning. That's the cafeteria or the gym. So buses will continue to drop off students in the back of the building, and they will still load the same way that they did in the previous years, on the side and in the back of the building. So when we talk about what are we trying to do this year, what do we think that we're going to be able to move forward, move Suitland forward? So our focus this year will be on improving our climate and culture in the building. We started last year. We're starting to build upon that because it's our goal, as it says, of Suitland High School staff members, to ensure students are able to receive an education in a safe and orderly environment. We're continuing a number of initiatives to help support this. We have we have a parent engagement specialist, we have a student advocate, we have a crisis intervention teacher, we have a mental health clinician, we have a plethora of support in the building, along with your counselors and your administrators and your teachers, to help our students to move forward and to make those positive decisions. We want to increase our promotion rate. Yes, we did in the 9th grade, but we want to do that in all grade levels. So we're going to put lots of different things in motion to help us to get our promotion rate up in every grade. That's one of our goals. We want to also increase the proficiency in Algebra 1. Around the county, our numbers have gone down for Algebra 1. And as far as from the superintendent on down, CEO, I'm sorry, on down, they have come, they decided that Algebra 1, we need to do a focus on it. Now, one of the good things that I didn't mention in the beginning is that Suitland, our scores were a little higher than the county's average. So we were making strides in algebra, and we want to continue pushing that in the forefront and making sure that our students, not only in algebra, but all of our math subjects. So what you will see and what our students will see is in each one of their classes, we will be giving them techniques and different things that are related to math, but we're showing them how it's related in science, social studies, so they can use that information when they're in their math class and hopefully every other class that they take from here on out. So Mr. Johnson is going to talk about the Suitland High School uniform policy.
Let me get myself off mute there. Good evening, everyone, and welcome again to Suitland High School's Town Hall. My name is Mr. Johnson, as Dr. Hollis just mentioned. I'm going to talk to you about uniform policy and IDs. So, of course, we have 4 grades at Suitland High School. The 9th grade, the incoming freshmen, will be wearing white polo shirts. Okay, the 10th graders will be wearing gray polo shirts. 11th graders will be wearing red polo shirts, and seniors, the class of 2023, will be wearing black polo shirts. But it's parents, it's important to note that your students should wear closed-toe shoes. Tennis shoes are suggested, and but there will be no slippers or no slides permitted to be worn in the building. Head coverings are permitted if you have a medical clearance, or if there's some sort of religious affiliation to the covering. But regular head coverings such as hats, scarves, bonnets, and the like are not permitted. They are not permitted. Also, we know that our students love to wear hoodies. This is going to be a change this year. We are not wearing hoodies. No students will be permitted to wear a hoodie in the building. So please make note of that. Next slide, please. So here's a representation of each colored shirt or colored uniform shirt. So you can see the 9th grade is top left is white. The bottom left is 10th grade will be gray. Top right is red, which would be 11th grade, and 12th grade is bottom right, which is black. And you can see the tan khaki pants there in the photo. They can wear joggers, they can wear khaki, what are those called? Chinos. As long as they are tan and are covered, their legs are covered, then they can wear that. Next slide, please. Okay, IDs. So last week we had a real push for IDs. I think it was August 15th and 16th, or somewhere in there. We took pictures, ID pictures. These pictures were going to be used in the yearbook as well. So we had a pretty good turnout for the 9th and 10th grade. 11th and 12th grade, we didn't have as many, but it is our goal to have for every student to wear their uniforms and wear their IDs this school year. So the IDs should be issued within the first week of school. And if your student did not take an ID picture last week, we do have some makeup dates that are coming. September 26th and September 27th are the makeup dates. Those photos will be both for IDs and for the yearbook. But we also will be we have a machine that prints out IDs on site at Suitland. So we will be pushing hard to get everyone an ID, as I said, within the first week or so of school. Next slide, please. Oh, the bell schedule. I forgot that. So bell schedule is such. So school starts at 8:30. Our warning bell starts at will ring at 8:20. As we said earlier, as Dr. Hollis mentioned, there is going to be change. So the pickup and drop off points for the buses will change and has changed from last year. So, and the entry points that the students will use to access the building will be changing as well. But as it stands right now, the buses will come in, they will circle around past the annex and come back down Drew Freeman Drive, which is directly adjacent to the cafeteria. The students will be dropped off in that area, in the rear of the building by the buses. As Dr. Hollis mentioned, no parents, unless they have special permission, will be allowed to enter the bus lane or enter the on campus. The parents will have to pick up and drop off on Silver Hill Road. But as I said earlier, we start at 8:30. As you can see, we have a circled little area here, which is a third period attendance from 11:20 to 11:30. And you can see the lunch schedules there and the final 4A and 4B schedule. Now for the CDPA students, we do have a fifth period, which is not represented here, but fifth period is from, I think, 3:20 to 4, Ms. Strayhorn,
4:40.
4:40. Thank you for that. So students will have 7 minutes to move between classes. And this is where they will need to either access their locker or use the restroom or take care of whatever personal needs they may need to take. But the expectation is for them to move from class to class on time within that 7-minute window. Yes, Ms. Parker.
Good evening, parents, students, and guardians. My name is Ms. Parker. I am the 10th grade administrator, and I'm going to go over our attendance policy. If your child is absent, please provide a note in order for him or her to receive makeup work. However, what is not here, which we will add, is that is due the first day they come back to school. We are not accepting notes that come in months later or even weeks later. When your child come back to school, please provide that note so that we can make sure that they get their makeup work and that they're able to get an excused absence. All notes should be given to the attendance secretary in the attendance office. That is in the front of the main building when you come in, and you will check into the main office and the attendance secretary will come over and get that information from you, or they will send you over to that office to take care of that. Students are expected to be in school on time. Please, please help us out, parents. We want to make sure that they get all of the instruction they need and that they don't miss out on any of the learning that needs to take place. Teachers will be starting right at 8:30. So please make sure they get to school on time. Those who are habitually late are subject to progressive discipline that will be handled by our PPW, which is our pupil personnel worker. Dr. Ms. Jones handles 10th and 11th grade, and Mr. Huntley will be handled 9th and 12th grade for our PPWs. Students are given 7 minutes in between class, which is plenty of time for them to use the bathroom and such, as Mr. Johnson said. So please make sure that you relay the message to your babies, or if students are on the call, make sure that they know that we do not want you asking for passes, because we will not give out passes the first 15 minutes of class or the last 15 minutes of class. We need that time to make sure our attendance is accurate So we will not give out passes the first 15 minutes or the last 15 minutes. Next slide. Parents, last year, this is a change. We really was trying to make sure it was enforced last year, but we want parents and students to know on day one, this is not an open campus. Students are not allowed to leave our campus. Once you are in our hands, you are not allowed to leave until you're 3:10 till you get on your buses, or you are allowed to walk home. Students that leave and out during their lunch period and go walking to go to Wendy's, McDonald's, or anything of that sort is not allowed, and they are subject to progressive discipline. No, we are not allowing students to receive food. They will not get food from Uber Eats, DoorDash, Grubhub, or any of those other places. It is prohibited for us to allow students to get outside food. Please have your babies come to school with their lunch already in their book bags for whatever they would like to eat for lunch. We do have a microwave in our cafeteria area where they can warm up their food. So please make sure they come to school with the food that they would like to eat. If they violate this during the school day without being signed out, will result not only in disciplinary action, but up to including out of school suspension. So I do want to make that clear that that is on the table. Okay, all of the local businesses in the area are made aware that we do not want them serving Suitland students during our school hours. Next slide, please. Okay, now I will turn the floor over to Ms. Williams.
Good afternoon. My name is Mrs. Morton Wilson. I'm assistant principal over the guidance counselor and 12th grade assistant principal. Just as a little recap, as part of our uniform policy, we forgot to mention that we've gone back to a mask mandated county. So all of our babies, in addition to their mandated uniform policy, they must wear a mask. One of the biggest things that we deal with each year is schedule changes. We are asking that all students and parents be very patient with us. There was a form that was sent out to all of our students' PGCPS email accounts, as well as placed on our school website. And this form is taking requests for schedule change requests. Please understand that priority for schedule changes will be given to the following students: those who have been placed in classes that they've already passed, those who are missing classes needed for graduation, seniors who are in need of half-day schedules, students who are missing classes for specific programs of study. Schedule changes will not be made in order to receive specific teachers. We know that you love certain teachers, but unfortunately, this is not Burger King and you cannot have it your way. The last day to request a schedule change is September 23rd, 2022. Remember, the key word for schedule changes is patience. Thank you. Next. Ms. Strayhorn.
Good evening. Yes, I'm Ms. Strayhorn. What am I? 11th grade assistant principal. I'll be going over information on the specialty programs. We do have several. We have the Center of Visual and Performing Arts. This is a four-year or three-year program. If you are a first-time ninth grader, you have the opportunity to audition in the spring for one of these, to be a part of one of these programs. To apply in the fall, audition in the spring, and enter in your 10th grade year, as long as you maintain a 2.0 GPA. So some of our majors are dance, music, both instrumental and vocal, television production, theater, visual arts. We also have cosmetology, which is a 2-year program. Again, you must maintain that 2.0 in order to be able to apply the end of your 10th grade year. And then the professional school counselors have those applications. And NJROTC, if you are interested in the Navy, military option may be something to explore. And we have that also with NJROTC. Each of these specialty programs will prepare you for college and or career. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Miss Williams, and I'm a first-year assistant principal at Suitland, but this is not my first year at Suitland. I'm a Suitland alumni. I'm proud of that. And also, I've been at Suitland for several years, a decade, 2 decades almost. So I'm excited to be serving in a different capacity. So we're not all about work at Suitland. We do want our students to participate in extracurricular activities, and there are several of them. Of course, we have athletics right now, and Mr. Johnson is over athletics. We have volleyball, football, soccer, and cross country going on right now. So if you haven't heard anything about those sports, please, when you get to school, listen for announcements and find out who the coach is so you can sign up. Also, we have other sports like cheerleading, we have pom-poms, we have the pep band, which we're excited to start back up. We have National Honor Society, which is open to juniors. And we have the National Art Honor Society, student government, and so many more. If you don't see something you like on this list, guess what? You can start your own club as long as you have a teacher to be your advisor. So don't say you couldn't find it at Suitland, because you can make it up. So I'm excited to see you all very soon, and I'm excited to see what clubs and extracurricular activities you are going to bring to Suitland High School.
Thank you. You've heard a lot of information tonight, and it's not going to stop tonight. We're going to continue to make sure that we're reaching out to parents and keeping you informed of things that are going on at Suitland, because we have to have a partnership with our parents to make sure that we're pushing our students forward and that we're making sure that everybody is ready to do the right thing and to graduate. So with that said, it's a couple of important dates. We all know tomorrow is for the 9th grade orientation. Monday, we're all back, ready, smiling in our places with bright shining faces. Isn't that what we used to sing in kindergarten? And this is the way we start our new day. So we're going to start our new day on the 29th with all of our students coming into the building. And we're excited for it. We have, they'll find some new staff members for those who are returning. And everyone will be ready to accept you. And we want to make sure that we can make your educational experience one that you will be proud of. So back to school night, parents, will be virtual this year again. It will be Thursday, September the 15th. We're going to start at 5:30. We'll have a brief introduction and some things to go on before, and then we'll allow you to break out in breakout rooms to meet with your teachers so you can ask some of those questions and you can get some information in reference to the classes that your child is taking. We also will have our first PTSA meeting. It's on Tuesday, October the 18th. The time, usually around 6:30, 7 o'clock, but we will make sure that they send out that information for you. Next slide, please. So we're at the end of this presentation. We hope that you enjoyed it. We do have some time, and we want to make sure that we're answering any questions that were put in the chat. So the person who was monitoring the chat, can you please read any of the questions that are there, or if there are any questions?
So good afternoon. So Ms. Summerlot asked about those CVPA students who are in specifically our orchestra program or band programs that have large instruments. I know we mentioned that, parents will not be allowed on campus in the mornings. She was asking about how those students will be able to, come to school, whether or not they got to get out on Silver Hill Road as well. And so what I told her was that we are working on a plan for those CVPA students that have large instruments. And so that information will be forthcoming within the next few days.
Correct. And I also said that if we have some special circumstances that we need to, give somebody a pass in order to get on the campus, we will do that as well.
Also, for those parents, same thing for those parents of students with disabilities that might have physical handicaps. We are working on a plan for those students as well.
Was that the only question, Mr. Perry?
Yes, sir. But I am monitoring the I'm on the track. Okay, so Miss Summerla also said, who is the contact person if your student's password is no longer working for their email?
For the email?
Yes.
Mr. Lee or Mr. Keyshawn McGill White?
So that's Mr. Anthony Lee. And
Anthony
his
Lee,
email
right.
is anthony.lee@pgcps.org. And then Mr. McGill White, that's Keyshawn, KEISHON.McGill-White@pgcps.org.
And good evening, Ms. Summerlot.
All right, we have another email. Our student PGCPS Google account is currently unavailable. How do we fix it? The same information, Mr. Anthony, so anthony.lee@pgcps.org or keyshawn.mcgill-white@pgcps.org.
Can we type that into the chat or something? So I guess if somebody could if they want to just copy it or something.
Okay. I'm reading the question. So another question is, so can another administrator type that in the chat? Will breakfast and lunch be free of charge this year? The answer is no. They are reinstating food pens this year. And so you would need to utilize your pen, whether you have free, reduced, or regular lunch. So no lunches and breakfast will not be free this year.
And that's starting on day one.
Mm-hmm. Another question is, will the links for back to school night work with parents' email? Last year, I had issues getting to some classes because I didn't have a PGCPS email. We are aware that persons had issues last year with logging into those classes. So we're going to try to make sure that teachers make those links public so that anybody that has the link can access your various classes. Okay. Another question, so ninth grade report tomorrow at 7:50 or 8:30? Mr. Johnson or Ms. Murray?
I'm sorry, what was the question?
So
What
we
is the reporting time for ninth graders in the morning?
Okay, so if ninth graders, if they're catching a bus, they should catch their bus at their designated bus stop. Or if the parents would like to drop them off, they need to arrive at Suitland High School by 7:50 in the morning.
Okay, but what time is the assembly, Mr. Johnson or Ms. Murray?
Well, they're going to need to be there by 7:50 so they can get their breakfast and then they can receive their schedule. The assembly will begin at about 8:50.
Copy. Okay, the next question is, what do we do if our student has a broken laptop?
I'm sorry, I was trying to unmute myself. If they have a broken laptop, they need to contact they can bring it in. They need to talk to Mr. McGill White. Now there is a $30 charge for a damaged Chromebook. And he will, if they bring a money order for $30, and we'll issue them a new Chromebook.
Okay, the next question is,
Excuse me, Mr. Perry.
Yes, ma'am.
That is if it is their first offense. If it is the first time that they have broken or lost their laptop, if it's a second offense, it will be a different charge.
Copy. The next question is, when will CVPA students receive their evening bus assignments? Ms. Strayhorn, might you have any insight on this?
The transportation department is working rigorously to assign buses. So that is a question that will need to go up to transportation.
Okay, and so if you have a question about transportation, you can email myself, Clark, CLARKE, Perry, P as in Paul, ERRY, at pgcps.org, and I will inquire with our transportation office on your behalf. Okay, the next question is the school bus available for tomorrow? The answer is yes. The school buses will be picking up as well as dropping off students on tomorrow, just the 9th graders. The next question is,
Mr. Perry, I'm sorry.
yes, ma'am.
While you are looking for the next question, I want to let our new RAM parents know that when the 9th graders come tomorrow at 7:50, breakfast will be free and lunch be free tomorrow. So starting Monday, that is when we need to make sure that everyone has money if they are interested in purchasing lunch from our cafeteria that has those great meals, because that'll be the only way. Outside of them bringing their own lunch from home, they will receive lunch.
So we have another question about who is the point person for advanced placement classes. That's Miss Olivia Nolan, but which administrator is over advanced placement classes, just in case they need to reach out to an administrator?
That would be me, Miss Williams, first name dot last name.
They don't know your first name, Miss Williams.
Oh, sorry. I'm sorry. They can't see the Zoom. My first name, sorry, everybody. My first name is Camila, KAMILAH.Williams@pgcps.org. So if you can't reach me in a timely fashion, you can also email olivia.nolan@pgcps.org.
Thank you. Our next question, are uniforms to be worn tomorrow? Yes, white polo or button-down shirts with their khakis and closed-toe shoes. Next question, when are CVP, Lord have mercy, Jesus, help my soul. When are CVPA bus routes for 5th period being released? That is 4:40 p.m. Next question, can you clarify the start time of the 9th grade orientation? Mr. Johnson or Ms. Murray?
So we need all of our scholars to be ready at 7:50 in the auditorium. That is the first building that you come to right off of Silver Hill Road. We'll be in the auditorium starting at 7:50. So all students can have breakfast and receive their schedule so they'll be ready to meet all their new teachers.
Wonderful. And Ms. Murray, go ahead, Ms. Strayhorn.
Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Perry. I think the previous question was about bus routes, the 440 routes being released, not the time we were releasing from school.
Okay.
So those routes are still being developed with the routers. And as soon as they are developed, they will inform us, and Mr. Perry, Ms. Saldana typically will send out information to parents as well as transportation when the bus route is available.
And typically parents' bus routes are updated on Tuesdays and Thursdays. And so we will try to make sure we keep you all updated as those updates come. Okay. The next question, Ms. Murray, I'm not sure if you know this. What is the cost for breakfast and lunch?
Okay, I do not know, but I can find out because it changes every year. I have looked into trying to make sure that we provide students tomorrow, and we place it on our websites for students that previously had free and reduced meals. So that will carry on, but everyone has to fill the paperwork out electronically. So we'll try to get that information to our students so that can be in place as soon as possible. And I'll let them know by tomorrow how much lunch and breakfast will cost on Monday.
And we can also put the link for the lunch forms applications on our website, and we can send it out through School Messenger so everyone can see that and have that information so they can apply.
Thank you. Our next question, what about tomorrow orientation? Are parents allowed on campus to know about programs? Unfortunately, parents, the answer is no. Parents are not allowed on campus on tomorrow. However, on September the 15th, during our back to school night, we will go into depth about the programs and other offerings that we have at Suitland High School. So stay tuned for those links to come for the virtual back to school night so that you can attend to find out further programming here at Suitland High School. Okay, we have another question about the CVPA buses. Again, like we said, those bus routes and assignments are being worked on as we speak. So just stay tuned for communication from either Suitland High School or our transportation office in PGCPS. Okay. We have a question.
Excuse me, I just got a text that the 440 routes are now available for CVPA returning students. Ms. Saldana will email it before the weekend. If you registered after August 10th, your 440 bus will be available after September 6th.
And so when she says 440 buses, those are the buses
That's
that are
the
assigned to our
fifth period bus.
CVPA students, our fifth
Mhm.
period buses. So those will be emailed to you all, or it should be available to you all in a couple of days as the school has received those assignments. Okay. What time is drop off? I'm not sure if you mean for orientation or the school day, but class starts at 8:30 a.m. during the normal school year. So anytime before 8:30 a.m. will be your drop off.
So parents, school starts at 8:30. So at 8:30, students should be in the classroom and ready to learn. So we definitely don't want to drop students off at 8:30. We kind of want to give them an opportunity to get where they need to go. So
Thank you, Ms. Murray.
no problem.
Right, because at 8:31, they're late.
Thank you, Ms. Murray and Ms. Dr. Hollis. The next question, can incoming 12th graders come to the orientation tomorrow? The answer is no. Tomorrow is specifically for our incoming 9th graders.
And Perry, if I could just jump in there real quick, say,
Go ahead and jump.
parents, if you have not purchased a school uniform for your student as of today or tomorrow, they do not, it's not a requirement that they wear their uniform. So but they must adhere to the Prince George's County Public School uniform policy, but they do not have to be in uniform in order to come.
Thank you, Mr. Johnson. The next question, this will probably be for you, Ms. Strayhorn. If your child already auditioned and was accepted into the CVPA program, but it's not on their schedule, should the student be concerned that they won't be added to their schedule?
I just complete the schedule change form and we will, they have priority, Morton Wilson. They can also email me or Miss Saldana.
They put it on the schedule change form, Ms. Strayhorn. It will be monitored very closely this year.
Okay.
And there's a tab that asks if you are in a program. So they are to click that they are in CVPA and their schedule change will be given priority if they're missing their program classes.
All righty.
And Ms. Wilson, can you post that schedule change link into the chat on YouTube?
It's actually on our school website.
Okay.
As well as it was emailed out to the students, and the first 10 minutes that it was posted, I had over 120 schedule change requests. So the students have a link.
Okay. Ms. Cooper asked about she missed the answer about lunches. The answer about lunches and the cost, we are not clear on the cost at this time, but once we get the cost, that information will be sent to parents, okay? When can we bring the broken laptop in? I want to be honest and say I wouldn't suggest the first day of school because of how congested the front office will be. But if at least you wait until Wednesday or Thursday to bring that broken laptop in to get it replaced, we should be in a space to where we can meet your service you, okay? Are students able to use school-issued iPads for assignments?
If it's issued by the school, yes.
All right.
Mr. Perry, may I jump in really quickly?
You surely can, Ms. Williams.
One of our wonderful parents posted in the chat that the cost of lunch is $2.75, and it says a slash, or $3 for lunch, and breakfast looks like it's $1.60. So yes, so I think that sounds about right for breakfast and lunch. No, it does not. Ms. Parker, you have children in the system. You may know better than me.
I was just about to say that it is on the Prince George's County website what the breakfast and lunch cost was. And I was just about to go and look it up so we could get the accurate number. Give me a second.
So if you could verify what our wonderful RAM parent put in and posted confirmation in the chat, it would be greatly appreciated. When will ninth graders get their Chromebooks? I spoke with Mr. McGill White today, who is our tech representative at Suitland High School, and he is working to service our ninth graders the first week of school. Okay, so just make sure your scholar is in place so that when that time is called, they'll be available to receive their Chromebook.
So I do have a question. Is this a ninth grader that's their first time in Prince George's County Public Schools? Because if they were already in another Prince George's County school, they can use the one that they were issued there.
So if that parent can place that in the chat.
But that goes for anybody if they've already,
yeah.
yeah. So just giving you that note because it will work in our building as well.
And yes, for Miss Spike, yes, transportation said call back Friday because they normally update bus routes on Tuesdays and Thursdays, so they should have an answer by Friday. Next question, Ms. Mitchell, will you send out the email address for the tech questions? So can somebody post that in the chat on YouTube?
So it's posted.
It's posted
about 3 times, yes.
Okay, great. So that one, if you scroll through the chat, Ms. Mitchell, that's Mr. Keyshawn McGill White. You should see that email in the chat. Okay, another question by Ms. Valentine. How may I have my child's attendance investigated for one class for last school year? Ms. Parker.
I'm sorry, I had my hand raised to tell you about the prices for lunch. What was your question? My hand was raised to tell you that. What?
How may I have my child's attendance investigated for one class for last school year?
Can you please tell that parent to email me the dates that they have in question for their child's attendance? My email is TASHUA, which is Tashua.Parker@PGCPS, and I will investigate that for her. And while I have the floor, Perry.
And she probably wants to give you the class too, which class it was.
Yes. And Perry, I could give you the prices. It is $1.60 for breakfast and $3 for lunch.
Copy. Thank you, Ms. Parker.
You're welcome.
All right. Ms. We have a question. Are you giving ninth grade computers tomorrow? No. They'll be distributed next week during their first official week of school. Okay, Ms. Flanagan says, Mr. White told me to just have the student bring it. He said so that's so Ms. Flanagan, just come up to the school next week and ask to speak to Mr. White if you have already had a conversation with him, okay? If he gave you directions already, follow the directions that he gave. Yes, they're to be in uniforms tomorrow. Ms. Valentine, how do I get a telephone number that is no longer in service removed in SchoolMax? Please come up to the school and
So
speak.
Mr. Perry, I responded to that in the chat. They can
Okay, wonderful.
email Ms. Scarborough
Okay,
the
great.
updated information if it's just the telephone number.
And can I add to that, when they email Ms. Scarborough, they have to take a picture of their driver's license and send the picture of their driver's license with their updated information so that she knows that is the person she's communicating with. And then she can change it.
Thank you. I'm not sure if anybody saw this question. Is there a menu for lunch options and prices?
There is a menu on the school website, PGCPS website. They have the lunch menu up there and the prices. Is that what they're asking?
Yes, that's
It's on the school, it's on the county
county.
website. And in the search engine, just put lunch menu or lunch prices and it'll come up.
Wonderful. I'm trying to make sure I keep up with my questions because they are coming in. All right. All right. Got that one. For lunch on Monday, will the school only accept cash payment?
So no, parents can also go to My School Bucks and they can upload money on their student's account for breakfast and lunch.
So they will accept cash and or My School Bucks on Monday?
Money, yes, they can go on My School Bucks and they can add money to their student's account if they do not want to give their student cash.
Okay.
Okay, I want to have clarity on that. Are we accepting cash in the cafeteria? Because I did get an email about My School Bucks that I was going to share as well. I didn't
So
know.
sorry, I don't know. I'll deflect to you on that.
Okay. Okay.
So what is your communication on My School Bucks, Miss Murray?
What Ms. Morton Wilson shared, that My School Bucks, when they go in and create an account, or if they had an account previously, that is where money can be added for students to pay for their breakfast or lunch.
So I'm going to ask for a member of admin staff to take that note as a question to inquire about so that we can send out notifications to parents about Monday as to confirm whether or not cash will be accepted on Monday.
Okay, got it.
Okay, if a child didn't get bus routes, can Mr. Perry find student if the student has a route? Yes, I can. Email me. My name is Clarke, CLARKE .Perry, P as in Paul, ERRY @pgcps.org. I am the administrator over transportation for the school. So if you will email me your inquiry, I should be able to answer your question. However, the caveat is if your child just registered in the last week, they do not have an assigned bus route right now. Okay, so I just want you all to know that if they enrolled in the last week, they do not have a bus route right now. Chromebooks are not needed for tomorrow. Well, I lied. Yes, I did. I lied. If they have a Chromebook, because Ms. Murray and Mr. Johnson have a document that students will need to complete to get updated contact information for our parents and other stakeholders. So if your child has a Chromebook or a cell phone, they need to bring it tomorrow so that they can complete the task for Ms. Murray and Mr. Johnson. Correct, Ms. Murray?
I can add to that, parents, if the Chromebook is being brought to school, hopefully it's in a book bag. If not, have your scholar see me tomorrow so I can make sure that they get a book bag. If not tomorrow, sometime soon, to put the Chromebook in. But everything that we're doing tomorrow, they can access on an electronic device, such as a cell phone, if you're allowing them to bring it to school. If they do not have either one, we will have computers available in the cafeteria during lunchtime for us to still get that information. So it is entirely up to you. I just suggest if a Chromebook is being brought to school, that it is in a bag of something. So it is not dropped or broken and it's in a book bag or however we choose to, whatever we choose to use.
Awesome. Thank you, Ms. Murray. Dr. Hollis, what is the earliest a parent can drop off their child?
Sorry, I had to unmute myself. We want students to be there at least, at the earliest at 8 o'clock. We don't have people to cover the building. So if they get there earlier, they will be outside until 8 o'clock. And then we will allow them to come into the cafeteria or the gym at that time. It's a safety and security issue. We want to make sure that no one's unattended. So if you wait until 8, we'll make sure, we'll have our staffing there ready to receive them at that time.
Thank you, Dr. Hollis. The next question, how can you get your PIN number to use for lunch? We will have administrators as well as other stakeholders in the building posted in the cafeteria during breakfast as well as lunchtime to give them their lunch pins. We will have a document in which we will be able to tell your child what their food pin is.
And also tomorrow, hopefully we will have someone for those new 9th graders. So we can possibly give them their numbers tomorrow, and that will cut down on, they're waiting in line on Monday.
I want to share this with everyone who is listening about the lunch pins. It's pretty much like a social security number. If you are placing money onto the lunch pin, the student should not be sharing that lunch pin with anyone at all, ever. So I'll just say that.
Correct.
We have special notes in our phone if they want to place it there, if they want to take a picture of it. But I do want to say this about the cell phones. If possible, if you do not want your child to come to school with one of the expensive phones, I would encourage you to possibly purchase an inexpensive phone. I mean, my dad is very proud of his flip phone, whatever works for you, so that your baby can contact you in case of an emergency at any time. So I would encourage you for that child to have some sort of device where they can reach out to you, but it does not have to be something expensive.
And I just want to add one other thing about those PIN numbers. If a student, someone uses their PIN number for lunch, and then your child comes and they have the second lunch and they try to go through the line and get their lunch, they can't get it because their PIN number is only used at one time during that lunchtime or during that breakfast time. So that's very important for them to keep that number close to them.
Thank you. Next question, and this is for you, Mr. Johnson. My 12th grader is taking the SAT on Saturday. She lost her ID yesterday. Can she come in tomorrow to have an ID taken so that she has an ID on Saturday?
That will be no, because the ID machine is not operating at the moment. But for Saturday, we don't have that capability at the moment.
Okay.
But Mr. Perry, that parent can go to the MVA and take her birth certificate and identifying documents and get a state ID.
Thank you. Ms. Marshall is asking about the times in which her child will be picked up. Ms. Marshall, if you send me an email, I'll be able to tell you the pickup time for your child for their bus. Okay, so next question, Ms. Sharp. Just to clarify, 5th period bus route will be emailed or posted in SchoolMax. Once your child has received their 5th period bus assignment, you will receive notification, okay? And then 2, you can also check on the PGCPS website, they have a link and we could send it out to parents in which a parent can put in their address and information, and you'll receive your bus route information also.
Mr. Perry,
Excuse me,
just
Mr. Perry. Go ahead, Board Minister.
Just a time check. The time is 6:57. So I think we have one more question we can take. And any questions in the chat that we have left unanswered, please feel free to email your child's grade level administrator, and we'd be happy to answer any of your unanswered questions. Mr. Perry?
All right, thank you.
Mr.
so much,
Perry,
Ms. Wilson. Yes, Ms. Parker?
It's called Transportation Finder. And if they put that in the search engine in the PGCPS on the county page, it will pull up and they can put their address in and it will tell them who their bus is.
Okay, thank you so much. Again, lunch pans will be passed out in the cafeteria. I see a question about address changes. Address changes should be forwarded to Ms. Scarborough. When should service learning hours be turned in for those done over the summer? Immediately, because that is an initiative of the school this year. So as soon as you get back to school, those service learning hours and the form can be turned into Ms. Lisa Hall, who is our service learning hours manager here at Suitland High School. Okay. Again, if you have a stop based off of your own address, an old address, you need to contact Ms. Scarborough, veronica.scarborough@pgcps.org. A parent asked about students have a phone during school hours. They can have their phones during school hours, but those phones should not be utilized during instruction. Okay? Out of sight, out of mind. How do I get another question, how do I get parent access to SchoolMax Reset?
It's the same, that information that we gave before. You can reach out to anthony.lee@pgcps.org or Keyshawn McGill White @pgcps.org.
So
Okay.
I placed that,
Okay.
answered a lot of the questions in the chat already, Mr. Perry.
Thank you. The last question that I see so far from Ms. Blackman, she actually made a statement. I have an SAT student ID form from College Board and have attached a current picture of their child. It just needs to be signed by an administrator at Suitland High School, sealed and stamped. So if you have that SAT form, bring it to Suitland tomorrow, and one of the administrators will verify and sign it and make sure you have the proper stamp on it.
Yes, we will.
Thank you, Ms. Moore. Well, so I see that you just posted that in the chat. You are on it. Awesome sauce. So we are at 6:59. Do any of our administrators have any closing remarks?
Well, I think I'm going to close it out by saying I really appreciate everyone coming out tonight. We wanted to make sure that we did this in order to give you some of those questions and some of those things that you wanted to know prior to school year starting. We are excited, as I said before, about starting this school year. We're ready. We want your students to be ready. Come rain or shine, it's here. We're ready for the school year 2022-2023. Thank you. We're glad that you came out, and we will see you throughout the year. Have a good evening, everyone, and just good night.
Everyone have a great evening.
So Perry,
Yes, sir.
Stacy, did you cut off the YouTube part? I mean, Ms. Brown, did you cut off the YouTube part yet?
No.